Queen. I am Lady Queen, I am. And I'm gonna help you deliver something you've been pregnant with for a long time. You see, the body has limitations, but the mind doesn't. If you can transform your mind from being conformed, then you can deliver your purpose and allow the world to see the greatness in you. See, you can't think like everyone else does. You can't do the same things they do. It takes discipline and dedication to be a part of that 1% that succeeds and reaches its full potential. You keep asking yourself, when is it my turn? When will I get my break? Well, let me ask you a question. What are you willing to go through? Are you willing to have sleepless nights because you have to work a little harder? When the other 99% is playing it safe and being comfortable and working the 9 to 5, making someone else's business successful. That's not the life God intended for you. You have to be willing to wake up before everyone else does. You have to be willing to go to bed after everyone else does. You have to be willing to give up fear. You can't be afraid to run up to the edge of the cliff and jump. Understand, when your feet hit the ground running, it's only to gain momentum to take flight. And turbulence is the price you pay for flying high. Hear this, change your mind, change your life. Now look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am powerful. I am worthy of success. I am whatever I want to be. And all I have to do is change my mind. I am
Lady Queen, I am. That's who I am. Listen, y'all, I'm going to get it switched one of these days. Wanda's here with us in spirit, too. So I'm so excited to be on here today with this beautiful queen. As you know, I am your girl, Shamika Willis, also known as Lady Queen. I am, but you can call me Lady Queen. And I want to continue to bring you this information, this hot information, because I don't want you to miss out. Now, I have a special guest. I told you I make everything personal, right? Everything's personal. This is my sister queen right here, right? This platinum leader, P1000, handling business. Listen, Frances is she's about to introduce herself. And once she introduces herself, I need you to make sure that you tap to clap. You press that heart button and you tap that heart button. You tap your little heart out, okay? Then the next thing I need you to do is I need you to press share to every group and page you're associated with, because you don't want to keep this good stuff to yourself. We share, right? If you love me, share the good news with me. That's what you want to do. You want to share the good news. I don't know if Facebook going to be able to handle all this great energy, because when I tell you my sister queen comes with a fire every time, she comes with a fire every time. So I'm excited to be connected with her, to even work with her, partner with her, because we want to help change families' lives. So Frances, introduce yourself, queen. Let them know who they talking to.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? I have an AirPod on. That way you guys don't get an echo. First of all, can we give Lady Queen some love? Like, listen, when you get to partner with people like that, you have no choice but to make sure your energy is on point. All right, because that's contagious. What if she came on here and was like, so today, guys, it don't work like that. You got to get your energy up. And that's how you need to approach every single thing in your life. Parenting, even when it gets hard, let me take my breather, but I'm going to show up that way, because that is what I'm going to continue to attract, right? So I couldn't have thanked her for a more amazing introduction than that, to keep the energy up in here. And really, we just want to have a candid conversation. We want to have a conversation with you guys that I think a lot of us, especially women, need to be having. But a little bit about me. I get to partner with somebody amazing like her. Like, I think that's enough in a sense. But personally, for me, I am a mom. I deal with the same quote unquote life noise that a lot of people do. When I first heard about the concept that we'll kind of touch on later, I was working full time, right? I was taught the normal thing that a lot of people are taught, which is go to school, get a good degree, try to get a good job with good benefits, and hopefully retire. Well, it's 2021, y'all, and there's a pandemic. I don't know if retirement is looking like what it used to look like, right? So I have the same life noise a lot of people have. And for me, just last year, it was a hard year, like for a lot of other people, but I also feel like it was such a groundwork year for a lot of people. And for me, I've spent the last 12 years in banking and insurance. And so I went from like I like to call it one financial necessary evil to the other, right? Because insurance is a necessary evil. We hate accidents, but we need insurance. And so I feel like I went from sadly encouraging people to borrow to the insurance world that we all need, right? Our homes need protection, our cars need protection. So it's just one of those things. And so I've spent a lot of my time there. But what that has also allowed me to see is that our world needs so much more financial help than what we're programmed to know we need. And, like I said, last year was a really hard year. I lost my job due to COVID. And I call it a blessing in disguise because I'm a believer. I know Lady Queen on here is a believer, and a lot of, her audience, my audience. So I'm here to tell you that our mentor had to jam into my head something I already know, that everything's always happening for my good, even when I can't see it that way. And for me, I was working for one of the top carriers over decades. And so at the beginning of the year with celebration, no, you guys were doing great. Nobody has to worry about their job. But one thing about the pandemic is it didn't discriminate whether you had a master's degree, 20 years in at a company, 32 years in at a company. I got laid off with a woman that after 33 years has to now go back into the workforce. So this is why we have these conversations, because when I look over and see people like her who really don't have any other solutions in place in her life, it was just like a friend to friend conversation. I'm a part of something great, and I think you should look at this when we go on our exit, right? So that's just a little bit about me and my story. And now, I'm just blessed and grateful that everything does happen for my good. That even though I didn't know 2 weeks after learning about this that I was going to be laid off, that God still perfectly placed everything without me being able to see that. Because I think as people, sometimes we want to know all the in betweens instead of just, we're going to get there. We don't need to know how, but we're going to get there. So I'm just grateful to be here, Lady Queen. I'm here to answer anything or share perspective that you need me to. I'm just grateful. So grateful.
Definitely. You know what? That is an amazing story. That's what I was telling, I tell a lot of people a lot of time when I try to explain stuff, because at the time I had been a paramedic for 12 years. And, working at a chemical plant I was working at, I would have to wake up about 2 o'clock in the morning, leave no later than 3 a.m. And so I had a lot of time on the road to get there for 5. So we're going a good distance, but I had nothing but time to spend with God. And a lot of time, because you can't talk on the phone to keep yourself awake. So I'd be praying like, God, please help keep me up on this road, and I would listen to my audio Bible. And so I had a lot of personal time with God. And when I did that, when I was having this personal time with God, God began to speak to me and told me to leave my job. And I'm like, okay, God, like hold up, time out. Like, God, this is, and not knowing this would end up happening, but, I'm like, God, you want me to leave I've been here, been working in this field for 12 years. I have 5 children, Jesus. And, the money that I make is the bulk of the money. How are we going to survive? But it was something that I knew. It was something that was like deep in my belly that I just knew I had to do. And, even when I was telling my parents, they're both pastors, and I was telling them, and they were like, are you sure about this? And I'm like, okay, I have 2 things. Either I can be obedient to God, allow him, not saying it won't be hard, but allow him to do whatever he's going to do, or I can be disobedient and I end up falling anyway. So I did it. I left the job. A month later, the pandemic happens. And I'm like, okay, now this is really going. But when I tell you, like, God has supplied everything since then. He hasn't missed a beat. And I ran into this wealth community where I'm like, and believe me, at first I was a little scared, y'all. Like I was seriously scared, because I was like, I don't know about that already. I'm struggling, stuff. And, just all of these natural human thoughts that come to your mind. And so I was struggling with that. But then like I heard, anyone speak to me. I was washing dishes and I heard God like seriously tell me, you want something different, but yet you're not willing to do anything different. And I was like, wait, okay. And so I called, like within seconds, I called my friend. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do it, because it's my best friend signed up first. I'm like, I'm going to do it, and I jumped into that. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because you keep hearing us talk about this wealth community, about how, the abundance is overflowing and how the wealth transfer is happening. And, Francis and I both were able to help families get to that place. And so with that being said, just getting off into that conversation of the digital world, learning how to
earn and learn at the same time. You know, Frances is killing the game and helping free families. That's the most amazing thing about this, because not only is it she's trying to better herself, right? And for her kids, you know, not only for that, for her family, but she's reaching back to other families saying, hey, we're going somewhere. You know, like this is where the abundance is. And I think a lot of people, you know, are scared as far as in their mind, because like, okay, well, it might work for you, but will it work for me? And they struggle with that, you know. So Frances, definitely, I want you to speak on that, like even in the digital world, about earning and learning, and tell us how we can get there. If someone's interested, tell them how they can get there, and then maybe tell them also how to get over that fear of that struggle that I believe all of us had. Is it really real? You know, is it going to work for us?
Yes. So I love these because I learned something new about every single person I get to partner with, and it's so amazing. So shout out to you. I'm like, dang, 12 years in, I felt that, right? So, you know, for me, I kind of want to address the fear and mindset first, because I feel like if we don't address that, we're never gonna really get to where we need to go in the digital entrepreneur world, which I feel like every single person needs to tap into, no matter what they're doing today. So I, I guess I want to ask y'all a question, really more so for you to think about than for you to answer for us, right? But I want you to think about this, because we're programmed. So whatever we do continuously or repeatedly, it's a habit, right? So we're taught, a lot of us are taught the same thing, right? Find a good job, and we're like jammed into this honorable badge that companies are loyal to us. When really, let's just talk about the pandemic alone, right? We have like this sense of security, but most states are at will states of employment. So I don't think we sometimes break down like the actual detail of what we've been taught to do until it gets real, and we have to break that down. So think about the pandemic, and I think about my personal situation, because a lot of people ask me, "Oh my God, how are you doing? I heard you lost your job." And I'm like, at first it was a hard thing to process because I've been doing this same thing for so many years, but in the same breath, it I understood it was not personal. And the reason I say that is because who was ready for a pandemic, right? Who was ready to be walking around with a mask, having chin acne like we're 13? I don't think none of us were ready. So, in the same breath, companies were also not ready for this. So, for the sake of them having to still operate as a business, if they even were able to get to that point, right? Because a lot of them have closed and are going to continue to close. But I thought to myself, well, this is not personal, because they still have to operate for profit. So they have to make business decisions. If they had to consider every single individual in this, they'd never make a business decision. So what I understood going into this space was, dang, I need to be making some personal decisions for my household as if we're a business. Because if I consider every single company or outside source or any company that's going to tell me how much I'm worth, I'm never going to make a decision for these kids that when I'm dead and gone, I need to make sure they have security and their kids have security. So I think we're just looking at that word, that security word, so different than we need to be looking at it in 2021, because we're in such a digital age. So I feel like if we can get to a place where we say, okay, I may not know exactly how this looks, but I could wake up tomorrow, think I'm going into work, and get a call from my company saying, you know, you can come, you're going to come in today, but unfortunately there's 500 or 1,000 positions that we have to eliminate. That's kind of what happened to us. I do think the company I was working with handled it fairly well compared to the capacity that a lot of other companies can handle it at, but they could do that tomorrow. So how will you be ready? I don't think any of us are ever fully ready for this. Like I hear people say, I'm not ready to have kids. Y'all, if we know anything, I wasn't ready to have kids either. Okay. But somehow you will always, especially if you're a believer, be equipped in the moments you need equipping. So just think about that as you go into this conversation, is if you went to work tomorrow or thought you were going to work tomorrow, that job could potentially not be there. So this conversation is not about leave your job, right? Because maybe you're not called to do that in this moment, but it's what else do you have in place that could be working for you while you're working for whatever you're working for right now. And for me, what that looked like was I had to get uncomfortable. I thought I knew what I needed to know about money. And so I want to start there because I spent most of my time in banking and insurance. But the truth is, and I'm a minority, so I'm gonna just have to speak from my experience. I'm a Puerto Rican Dominican from the Bronx, New York, who wasn't included in a lot of money conversations. And I don't know if you want to call that an accident or not, but we're not even gonna go there. But I was raised by a single mother of four, and as parents, I'm gonna speak to us parents because we want to have our why and excuses in the same sentence. And I'm sorry, they just cannot coexist. They just can't. Our parents did the best thing they knew how, right? It was to give us experiences and try to set us up with better than they ever had, right? And so for us as parents now in 2021, we're still following the same value system, but it has to look a little different, right? Because we're in 2021, everything's digital. By the time our kids are grown, they'll probably have holographics. I don't even know what that's going to look like, right? So it's about adapting, but I understood going into the space, dang, there's not a lot that I do really know about how money truly moves. Because if I did, I would be in a different financial position. But I was still like a lot of average people. I went to school for $60,000 to come out only hoping to sell myself enough to a company to say, hey, we'll pay you 80 grand a year, but I still have to pay back student loans for however many decades, right? The numbers don't add up. And this is not, I don't knock higher education at all, right? I did what my parents thought was the better thing. My mom had no higher education. So that was the next best step for me. But in 2021, how is that serving me? So that's kind of how I went into that conversation. But then I looked at the most basic example, because let's talk about money, right? Money is a necessary tool, right? Because people say, oh, money is about happiness. Money makes people evil. No, it's just going to elevate more of who we are and what we think we should be doing with money, right? So if you're naturally a giver right now with your last $10, when that's 1,000 or 10,000, guess what you're going to do? You're going to give more of that. So I looked at the most basic example, our US banking system. I spent a lot of years there. But if you look at it, it's not really set up to make us wealthy, right? If we don't have enough in a savings account, we're getting charged a maintenance fee. Sir, ma'am, what am I helping maintain? Like, it's electronic, right? So, like, just think about really basic examples, even if you feel like you don't understand the money world fully, because this is a new conversation for a lot of us, right? So I look at that example, but then I also look at the fact that they've programmed us to borrow, right? How much sense does it make that an 18-year-old Puerto Rican Dominican from the Bronx can't necessarily go get a certain kind of loan that you decide I'm qualified for, but you'll give me $100,000 in student loans to go to Purdue? These are like basic examples that us as people, we have to wake up to. Because it's not the problem is not that we went to college and got this good degree. The problem is, where do the numbers add up to set us up for wealth? They don't. So we just have to become smarter. And with that, I said, man, when I got introduced to this conversation, it was actually an accident. I thought we'll talk a little bit about what this platform offers, but I thought Forex was a scam. I thought Bitcoin was fake money. Thank God I was not ignorant, because I bought it when it was 13,000. But I'm like, there's got to be something that wealthy people are doing that I'm not, because I feel like I've done all the things, and yet here I am fighting with the student loan people. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to give you $600 a month. I don't know how that's going to work out when I got a house payment, I got these kids. Like, the numbers don't make sense. So I was actually on Instagram Live one night, and I just knew there was something more, right? Like, I've been in banking, insurance, so I understand the power of multiple streams of income, because you guys, the average millionaire is getting paid at least 7 different ways. So if you're on here and you're like, oh, I already love what I do, that's great. But how many of those I love what I do are coming in for you, right? And for me, I was like, oh no, 2 is not enough. So I got to figure this out. And I spent a lot of time in health and wellness. And the truth is, you guys, during the pandemic, people didn't want my capsules. Let's just keep it honest. It's not to throw shade. The company's great. They didn't want. So I knew, although these products are great, people still need a solution. They don't want to be spending money just to spend money. So I was on Instagram Live like, man, God, I know that you're telling me to kind of take a step back and just reevaluate what else I'm doing. And I wasn't really looking for anything, but Wanda Webb was live having a real conversation about money. And there's my daughter. I love that I get to do this with her screaming in the background. But I heard her having an adult conversation about money you typically don't hear in the banking system. And I was like, ooh, what's this? Oh yeah, consumers are paying back every $9 for every dollar they borrow. Oh yeah, I know that. And it just made me sick to my stomach, but in a good way, because I'm like, what is she doing? First of all, that she's in her mid-30s, she's a multi-seven-figure earner, and is completely debt free. It does not take a lot to know that my current habits are not serving me at the capacity I would like them to if I'm not halfway there. So hey, Wanda Web, girl, what is it that you're doing? And that's really how the conversation started. I don't even know, you guys. I call it a God-given divine appointment, because I wasn't even following her on Instagram. Like, someone shared her live, and then I was like, oh, who is this lady? She's got great energy. I feel like she's my sixth cousin. Who are you? And when I clicked on that, it was just a real conversation about money. And it really just became, what are you doing today that is going to have money working for you instead of you working for it? And that just opened up the door to Forex, binary options, cryptocurrency, which, oh, Lord, I see you. And then, of course, the impact side with helping other people. And it's just crazy. Like, I don't know. So did your best friend bring the conversation to you? How did you open up like this can of worms of all these streams of income?
But let me tell you, you are right. God works in crazy, crazy ways. What happened was, one of my friends, matter of fact, she's on here, Antoinette Marie, was doing a live with another lady, Tammy Washington. I had just got the phone with my best friend. I said, oh, I need to support one of my sisters on live. I was like, jump on there with me. And just so happened, Antoinette and Tammy were talking. So my best friend was on there, and we were watching Tammy talk. And then after the live ended, we got back on the phone. And so she was like, Shamika, I've heard about this Forex before. I'm like, man, don't even play. You already know the situation. Don't even start, and stuff. And so she was like, no, I'm serious. I'm going to do it. And I was like, are you serious? And so I was like, well, what is Forex? She was like, well, look it up, just kind of, and you always see those people, that say different things. I was like, well, Walmart got bad reviews too. It don't stop nobody from shopping, so I was like, you know what, let me go research this a little bit. And I got through talking to her, and she said, Shamika, I'm doing it Monday. I'm doing it. I already talked to Tammy, and Tammy is also one of our mentors. But Tammy is my upline, but she signed up with Tammy, and I was like, okay. And I was like, you sure? And I was like, you sure you know what you're doing? And we've been friends for 25 years. So it was never oh, you're trying to pull me into a scam, because I know she's not set up like that. Like, that's my BFF, right? So I know Tina, she is going to bring me in, and if it's something legit, she'll bring me in, and it'll be all good. So that's what happened. And I called her back like a couple of days later, and I said, you know what, I am going to do it. And when I tell you, I do not regret it one day. I wake up like, wait, it's today morning mentorship, like, and I start looking through my calendar. But then that's what, they only do it. Our great mentors, Wanda and Randy Webb, look, they only do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? So I was like, I got to find something in between there. So then I went look in our back office. I went look, and I actually found Words Taylor, which is another motivational speaker that the Academy gives. And I was like, okay, so I use him in between the Wanda and Randy days, because I need my cup of motivation, and then Francis, I wanted to tell you too, thank you so much for putting me on. I did not know Wanda had a coaching thing. And I was watching your live yesterday, and you said WandaWeb.com. And I was like, I interrupted the live. I was like, hold up a second. Let me go to this. And I was like, no one told me about this. So Wanda, if you listen, when you listen in, because I know you're on vacation, honey, but when you listen in, you're gonna have to spill the tea. Let them know WandaWeb.com, because I didn't know. And I signed up last night. Because I was like, I can't miss any of this, because I see this greatness that is coming from the Academy. And, I don't want to miss it, because I want to be up to date on what's going on. It's just like, if you want to be in the medical field, you're going to go and get the education so that you can become the best of what you're doing, especially with dealing with people's lives. And we have to realize we're dealing with our life financially, on whether or not we'll have to depend on a box of food from the government one day. Or whether or not we'll have to depend on the next church, next door. And I even heard you talk about, even with, especially our believer family, our older generation have a hard time, and they say, well, money is the root of all evil. The Bible doesn't say that. The Bible says the love of money. What I want you to realize is you keep being stingy with them dollars and not moving the very thing you try to hold on tight to. It's like that thing slips through your hand. You can never, get on top. So we have to be careful, even when you begin to say, even when people begin to say that, because you have to realize you could actually be missing that opportunity of your financial freedom. You could be missing it. And I didn't want to do that anymore. I did not, the Bible tells us money answereth all questions. So if the Bible's saying that, and yet I'm sitting here, listen, that 9 to 5, and we don't knock, a 9 to 5 or any job, because you do what you have to do. And, some people love that job, but understand that's not enough to set you up to where you can become financially free forever, unless you're just that multimillionaire, you're born into it. But like Sister Queen Francis said, my Sister Queen said, especially in our culture, we don't have these money conversations. And, definitely being a Joshua generation people, we want to help bring these conversations out more so that you can financially benefit off of the wealth transfer. Because listen, and I see those posts all the time, say amen if you believe God is going to do it in your life, or you're going to have a 6-figure bank account. Listen, if you can believe that all day long, if you're not doing nothing, you're believing in vain. To be honest, the Bible tells us faith without works is dead. So which means I can't expect Jesus just to put 6 or 7 zeros behind a digit and say, oh, I knew God was going to do it. It don't work like that. It does not work like that. You have to not only have faith, but you have to be working towards something. And so when I begin to, even connect with people like Francis and, Tammy and Wanda and, and all of them, I realized how warped my way of thinking was, because we don't realize a lot of times we have a poverty mindset and we don't even realize it. We're very, even, things that we have to pay for, we're trying to figure out how we can, skim it, or even the fact is, even think about this, whenever we're believing that God is going to, help us with certain bills, and we're like, God, we're struggling. How am I going to do this? He brings that opportunity to us, but because we're stiff-necked, or because we're not sure about something, instead of getting that education, we shy away from it instead of learning a little more about it. So that's what we wanted to bring to this platform today is, listen, you didn't just happen here by circumstance, whether it be the live or the replay, you're here for a very important reason. And it's because God wants to put this message in front of you. Listen, everything's going digital. We shop online, we date online, we meet our spouses. Like, understand, everything's going, church is online, everything's going digital. What makes you think your money ain't? What makes you think the money isn't going definitely more often to the digital world? Already we have Apple Pay, stuff like that. That's very much digital, but understand it's going that way. So we wanted to bring this conversation. And, Francis, I thank you so much for coming and to speaking with us, because I want them to know, definitely we have to wake up. We can no longer sleep. So, with that being said, Francis, kind of tell them about the Learn and Earn, how they're able to connect, even if they want to connect with you also, to definitely put your information out there so that we don't leave anybody behind, because that's what it's about, touching the lives of people.
Yes, like, listen, I can't even say anything like more than that to really highlight the fact that a lot of times, y'all, and us believers, we praying for all the wrong things, keyword things, right? So we have to keep in mind that we expect all these big abundant blessings with zero new activity or behavior. That's not how we're operated, or how we're created to operate. Like, you are literally the highest creation. So Wanda Webb says something so powerful, how often we think that our circumstance is not fair. We got laid off, this is not fair. But why are we so good with fair when we're called to be excellent, extraordinary, supernatural? Like, stop waking up just wanting to have a good day. I want to have a supernatural day, even when some of the things are not going my way. Because the truth is, it's not about our way, okay? So let's talk a little bit about just the digital entrepreneurship space and this platform specifically, because I don't come to the conversation not confident. Why? Because we are literally the elite platform of this digital entrepreneurship space for a lot of reasons. One, we're not new, right? We're not just testing out a little trading community. We're not testing out cryptocurrency. Like, this is elite, like Wall Street CFO elite, okay? For a lot of people who don't know, right? Our CFO, our CEO come with over 26, 30 actually years of experience from trading in the market to one of the best women on Wall Street. So collectively, they came together and said, how do we bring a Wall Street skill set to the average person? Because the truth is, most people are just not educated like I was, right? I was not educated about Forex. That's why I thought it was a scam. You guys, Forex is the foreign exchange market, largest, most liquid financial market in the world. And although I knew about the market, I just thought it was some little company trying to test out to teach people how to trade, right? No, this is not what this is. And so when I really started digging into the academy itself, I'm like, man, these people are really onto something, because the CEO takes no profit from this company. So everything that is poured into this is literally put in to the elite education and the families that decide, man, this has changed my life. I need to go share this with somebody. So, we offer foreign exchange as a platform to teach you how to really become a skillful trader, because there's a difference between testing something out and truly becoming a skillful trader with a skill set that is meant to carry on for generations, right? Amara watches me trade. Her brother's about to be 7. He can put in a trade on binary options. It is the craziest thing. But all it took was access to new information. And a lot of times, y'all, we listening to the wrong people about the things we're trying to do in life, right? I'm gonna just give you an example. I cannot keep talking to my current banker friends about a financial market that we're not technically taught about in the retail sector for a reason, because we want to encourage people to borrow. I cannot have the same conversation with them about financial freedom when they're so attached to helping people borrow right now. We're not in the same space. So you have to start having conversations with people that are going where you're going or are already there and can tell you, this is how I got here. Let me help you. Because then what happens is, when I start to learn the new way of thinking, now I can reach down and say, Lady Queen, let's have a different conversation. Let me tell you what I'm learning from these millionaire mentors, right? So a lot of times we're having these conversations for validation, which, if you're a believer, you don't need any validation beyond the one you already have from your daddy, okay? But the problem is, we're having these conversations for somebody to tell us, oh yeah, Forex is great. If they've never heard of it, or they're really not educated, like truly educated, they can't have the same conversation as you. It doesn't mean you don't love them, but we got to love on different levels these days to get to where we need to go. The love is the same. We just got to have different conversations. So we offer traditional Forex, binary options. I am very biased, because that is really how I got introduced to this platform. And binary options is simply trading. I feel like it's trading Forex, but on steroids, kind of, because it's faster. But I'm a New Yorker in my heart, deep in there. So I like that, right? I like the 3 to 6 minute trades. I want my money in minutes. But I had to understand there's a lot of unlearning I need to do, right? Because think about your current situation. If you're on here, if you're like, man, I feel like I'm just still making ends meet, or I feel like it's just, I'm worrying about the next bill all the time. Well, our current habits have us continuing worrying about the next bill every time with nothing else changing. So, okay, God, I'm praying for you to provide, which you always do. Let's not get it twisted, but it doesn't look how we want it to look, right? That's a lot of the problem we have too. What am I going to do different? Because the thing is, when we start to do the different things, oh, don't worry. Your good father is going to tell you, hey, I need you to come here real quick. Hey, I need you to go here. But if we don't do the moving, he's not about to pull you up off your seat. Sometimes he's going to push you. Like, you're going to feel the push because you're not being obedient. Right? Back to Lady Queen. She had to get up and go. If not, guess what? He was going to push her out. You guys, I knew it was time to go from my job the minute I felt like every day I was just going through my day. I'm not called to just go through my day. So if you're on here and you're feeling like, I just feel like I'm just living, like I'm just existing. You're not here to exist. You're here to live and to help change other people through what we know we're called to do. So I knew it was time to go. This pandemic was just God's way of pushing me out. I was gonna say another word, but I'm working on my character, my language, right? But he knew it was time. So guess what? December 2nd, you got to go. I'm going to push you out right before 2021 and right before Christmas, because Christmas ain't about the presents anyway. It's about my presence. So you about to feel me for real, okay? I was like, yes, I felt that. So I got introduced to binary options, but I knew I needed to start having different conversations. Y'all, I cannot tell you. Let's have a real conversation, because I'm going to talk to the women who have a significant other real quick, okay? He is very supportive in my household, right? Because he's like, I trust your judgment. So I know that anything you're doing is not going to be some foo-foo, right? Like, you trust it, so you're going to go with that. And I support that. But when I was talking to him about trading, he was looking at me like, all right, let me know how that goes. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to let you know how this goes. Because God gave me a brain and I'm intelligent. And women, I'm talking to y'all because we underestimate how intelligent we really are. So I was like, yeah. So guess what? To my women that are on here that are like, man, nobody in my circle around me understands where I'm coming from. Guess what? The seed was sown in you, not them. If God gave them the vision right now, they would already have it. They would be like, yeah, let's trade together. I'm willing to learn this because I know that my money's just dwindling away. It's not growing. They would have it too. So I'm talking to the people on here that want so much support and validation. You need to give yourself support by showing up. You need to validate your decision by saying, God, I know you would never steer me wrong. And you need to keep going because the proof is going to be in your work. So back in October-ish, when I was really getting the hang of binary options and learning how to take my little $20 to $50, I was hyped, you guys, because no bank is going to give me that return. So when I took 20 to 50, I was like, oh, it's game time for real. What if that was 200 to 5? Oh, y'all better watch out because we coming, okay? But it took me time to get there. But that's the problem. We want instant everything, right? So I said to myself, okay, I know he trusts my judgment, but I'm going to come with this for real. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to be a student. And I'm going to learn. Because guess what? I spent 6 years going to college and I still owe student loans. So what's different than giving myself 12, 24, 48 months to get to a first million? Oh, it's so worth it, right? But I had to stop worrying about everybody that wasn't supporting me. I didn't care that he was in my household. Listen here. Like you said, I'm smart. You trust my judgment. Yep, I trust mine too, because it ain't really coming from me. But I trust my intuition. Women, we have that for a reason. So I didn't need him to validate that decision. Instead, I said I was going to learn this, right? But this is also why it's important for us to bring our own bacon to the table, okay? So that when people, it doesn't matter who it is, don't necessarily see what you see because it hasn't been given to them yet. But the proof is going to be in your work. So now come around full circle. Guess who has cryptocurrency and Exodus wallets around this piece? Yeah, because I stood consistent. I bet on myself because if there's anything else I know, I don't care who doesn't support me. My good father does. So y'all need to start acting like it, right? And that was really my biggest conviction was, so what if this is new? When you got out of high school trying to decide on a major that you didn't even know was going to pay you, that was new too. When you got out of college hoping to get that job and you're still probably not working in your field, that's new. So we need to get with things that are new, but that are actually giving us the return we really desire. So I'm biased on binary options because that's how I've really been able to build something substantial. But I just want to highlight crypto real quick, and I'm going to give it back to Lady Queen because like I told you, this is the elite. I call this like the Harvard or Yale of really the Forex space, trading, cryptocurrency. There's nowhere in the world right now that is doing crypto like we're doing it. And I don't say that because I don't believe in other platforms. Look, I'm so focused that I don't even know what else is out there, right? So with what we're doing in cryptocurrency, we're having conversations a lot of other people aren't, right? A lot of people know, hey, I can buy Bitcoin. And look, if you're on here, you're buying some, I commend you. That is a start. But we have to remember anything that we want to get great at, we must study. So it's all good to buy this Bitcoin and buy these other cryptos, but what are we studying that's going to take us to the next level? Because guess what? As technology advances, computers are going to keep getting smarter. So us as people need to use the biggest machine that was given to mankind, okay? It's here. But if we don't exercise that and elevate as technology elevates, we're going to be lost, right? So you can be buying it all day. But what we're truly teaching people to do with cryptocurrency is, one, to understand it. Y'all, I've been seeing some heartbreaking platforms floating around here. And that's why I said, God is working on me because I don't really have anything technically specific to say about these platforms. I just want to tell you, learn the world of crypto because what we focus on is on ownership. I don't care what platform lets you buy crypto. I care about you protecting it so that your kids can still have that if a public website decides to crash. That's what we care about. So we're going to really educate you like from the beginner. So if you're on here, you're like, I don't even know what the heck crypto is, but I keep hearing Bitcoin. Look, you're in the right place at the right time, like Lady Queen told you, because our job is to take you, whether you're at 0 or 1,000, and teach you what is cryptocurrency, what is, Bitcoin, right? What's the difference between that and a technology project like Ethereum? They're all different, but sadly, the world of technology also preys on vulnerable people. When you're not educated, you're vulnerable. So then when somebody comes to you and tells you, hey, I can help you turn your 100 into 1,000, sometimes because of desperation or whatever financial situation you're in, you fall for that because of the lack of education. So that's our focus, right? We're a digital wealth educational platform that's going to walk you through from the beginning to mastery so that you have ownership of your wealth, so that you decide what money moves to make. You don't wait until the government is going to send out another stimulus that's only going to hurt us later because the cost of living is going to go up so much people can't keep up with it. That's what we want to teach you. We want to teach you ownership. I don't know about y'all, but I'm a Latina unapologetically that has a lot of wealth to take back for my people. Okay? So if you're on here today, I don't care if you feel like, Francis, this conversation is so over my head. Dr. Jewel Tanger said something so powerful, I will never forget it. And women, I'm talking to y'all because we're only 9% of investment portfolio holders in this world, and we're changing that number one woman at a time. We need to stop allowing what we do not know to be our biggest expense. Guess what? It's already cost you enough. You already know what being broke and busy feels like. You ain't got no time for your kids. You don't have time for your spouse. You're tired of going to this job here and everybody complaining about the same thing every single day. So we know what that feels like. We need to stop allowing what we don't know to cost us even more than we've already paid. We've paid enough. Suffering, tired nights. Even if we got to stay up till 2 a.m. with that baby, we still get up and go to this job at 7 a.m. So why can't you get up at 6 a.m. to do an hour of education that's going to impact your life in ways you would never even imagine? So to the woman or the person on here that feels like this conversation is way over my head, I'm going to leave you with one last piece that Dr. Jewel Tanger changed my life with when she came to Indianapolis and I heard her speak in this Marriott hotel. She said, a conversation may feel like it's over your head, but stay around the conversation because eventually it'll be in your head. And then once it's there, it ain't going nowhere. But the more you move away from it, the further removed you're going to be from the information. And the current information that you have is not serving you. If it was, you wouldn't even be on this conversation. You'd be financially free, debt free. You'd be able to monetize and use your gifts and abilities to make some money, to make more impact, but you're not there yet. And that's okay, right? Because shame and guilt can't live in this conversation of change. But you have to stop allowing those over your head conversations to be over your head. Keep having them. Stay close with Lady Queen or whoever put you on here, and eventually they'll be here. And then that 9%, honey, we coming for some higher percentages these days. So Lady Queen, you know I can get on a soapbox because I get hyped when I talk about this elite, because we take anybody from jail or Yale. And I'm going to give it back to you when I'm going on mute because I can get real hype on it.
He said jail or Yale. It don't matter. It does not matter. Let me tell you, the binary options, your baby, DCX has become my baby. When I tell you the DCX Academy has changed my life, on this 90-day trade with Randa, we have the best mentors. Did we tell y'all that? When I tell you, listen, Francis just talked about how it is the number one platform. If you're going to do something, make sure you do it with the best. And we all, well, I'm a little biased. I'm one. If I'm on, definitely I will definitely support it, especially if I believe in it. But let me tell you, I just appreciate each of you that are on here, each that are going to watch the replay. Thank you so much. Go ahead and tag someone in here, share it with them, because you don't want to miss out. You don't want them to miss out. We understand times are changing, y'all. It's changing, okay? So we want to make sure, as she just said, and I wish I would have been in the same place, but I'm glad she passed it to me. That's why I love her. She passes me the good stuff. She passes me the good information, but definitely what Dr. Jewel Tankard said. Listen, we have to start getting around these conversations more. We have to start getting, the more we get around them, something will ring a bell. You know what? I remember hearing about this. I remember them speaking about this, because understand, Bitcoin, even though it's great, don't believe me, I have Bitcoin too, but it's not the only cryptocurrency. And so don't try to YouTube it, because I heard someone say this: YouTubing is like grabbing pieces of sand. But what if you could have the whole beach to yourself? Like, what if you could have, a bucket, of it, where you get that you need someone to educate you in that. YouTube and all those other places will only get you so far. Tap into educators, master educators. Cobain, I'm on his lives. Every time I stay on them lives, and I'm like writing down the notes, because I'm like, I gotta get this one. He talked about I gotta do this. I gotta make sure I don't do this, because we want to make, like she said, we try to not only help you secure it and make sure you own it, but definitely protect it. Protecting it is very, very important. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your time, Francis. I appreciate you, Queen, so, so much. Now listen, Monday, I have another queen coming on. Monday, it is my other mentor, Tammy Washington. I don't know how to say her new last name, because this beautiful queen just got married. So I'm not even going to try, but just know this queen right here, this is the queen that talked about it, that sparked interest, where now we are connected to the #1 platform. So come back on Monday, and definitely we will be going live on Facebook again. Thank you so much, Francis, for everything that you do, Queen. Keep touching them. Now, real quick, if they want to get in touch with you, what's some ways that they can follow you, either on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube? What's your handle or name?
Yes, perfect. So I'm gonna help you out, y'all. This is what community is really about. This is really the most valuable piece. I would be in the academy just for them, okay? But listen, yeah, she said come back. Tammy Descension is gonna be on here bringing y'all some heat. All right. So look, you guys can follow me on here. I'm way more active on Facebook than probably any other platform. I'm tapping into Clubhouse, so just come to the Queens of Crypto room, and then we'll see each other in there. But on Instagram, I'm at the Francis Rodriguez. Y'all, Francis Rodriguez is apparently more common than we know. And really, if this conversation sparked any curiosity at all in you, even if right now is not the time that you say, I want to be a part of the academy, stay close. We offer a lot of free value for people to just really tap in, because this goes beyond, being able to make money 5 different ways on our platform, right? It goes so beyond that. It is really about that person that maybe feels like I did and didn't know what Bitcoin was, or maybe that person that's like, I've never even had money conversations. I'm talking to a lot of my women too, because it's a cultural thing. We kind of take the back seat when it comes to money. So whatever that space you're in right now looks like for you, just reach out and say, hey, Lady Queen, that was an interesting conversation. I never heard about that platform. Like, tell me a little bit more. Or if you're that person that's like, yeah, I've been hearing about this, I'm watching you, Lady Queen, I'm ready, right? Because truth is, any decision that you're going to make is on the other side of a very small dollar amount, right? But in order to get to the next level, we have to invest in us. So that's how you guys can follow me, or somebody else invited you on here or shared this with you. Ask them, because if they shared it, they probably know what she's up to. So I appreciate you, Queen. Thank you. Come back on Monday, because I'm going to be on here waiting for Tammy. She is an absolute powerhouse, y'all. There's no coincidence that women like them work together, okay? Y'all better watch out when we come in groups. It's real, right? Where 2 or more are gathered. Y'all better get ready.
Come on, sis. Come on. Come on. So we love you guys. We will see you again on Monday. We appreciate everyone that has joined. Go ahead and share this post before we go. We love you guys. We'll talk to you again on Monday.